Good morning. Welcome to our garden. Just a brief little tour, kind of what we got going on here. Here we have a huckleberry that started from seed this year. We got some berries coming on. Pretty cool. Pretty amazed by how fast that thing's growing. And then next to it, we got some artichokes that I started from seed as well. We've got a little one coming on here. So maybe later this year we'll have an artichoke. We'll see. And then coming around this way, we have some sweet peas that I just put in these old tires here in a tomato cage. They're kind of finishing up, but I will save seeds from them so we can plant them for next year. And then we got a goji berry here, which is pretty exciting. Really healthy berry, high in antioxidants. And then I sowed some beet seeds around the outside for a nice fall root crop. And then over here I got just kind of random seedlings waiting to go in. More rhubarb, which I have one planted in the ground there. Some more goji berries and some more huckleberries that look like they're getting close to being ready to pick. And then, and over here. Here I've got a sugar pie pumpkin. It's the extra start I had, and I just popped it in the corner here, and it's going crazy. And then we got our fig tree. This is a Desert King fig. Really delicious fruit, and it's cold hardy. I didn't think we would find a fig that was hardy in Zone 7 here, but that one apparently is. And over here we have our medicinal and flower bed. It's just swarming with bees right now. We got all sorts of different things planted in here. Bee right there. Got some cosmos here. Our zinnias are just starting to open up. We have probably 5 or 6 different varieties of zinnias. That's exciting. One of my favorite flowers. Some sunflowers coming up. More cosmos. Here we have borage. The pollinators just love it. And actually edible flowers too. It kind of tastes like cucumbers. Pretty interesting. And then here we got a lemon verbena, which is just an amazing smelling herb for teas. And a lot of different things in the back. Some bachelor's buttons. A really pretty flower. Pollinators love them. Here's some dill that's going to flower. Really love how that looks. It kind of reminds me of a firework. Really cool looking. Some echinacea. Just getting started. Our rose here actually put out another bloom. We thought it was finished, but then it came up with this big stalk here, and it looks like it's going to put out some more flowers. And in the back here we have a wall of sunflowers. This one's huge. Pushing about 12 feet now. More zinnias. Oh, and in the back here, actually, I just noticed the other day, there's a marshmallow plant that's just starting to flower. So yeah, that's pretty cool. The root is really good for teas, really good for your digestion. Over here we got some zinnias, motherwort, a good medicinal herb. Some valerian here that's kind of finished its flowering cycle. This, I believe, is a marigold. Vibrant, pretty orange flower. Some borage that was flopping over, so I actually tied it to this sunflower. This one just got huge. Some more dill. And then this here is a orange mint. It's really interesting. It's orange kind of smell. That's starting to flower. Yeah, it's our medicinal flower bed. A lot of different things in there. I guarantee I didn't go over all of them, but that's alright. Over here, coming into the bulk of the veggies here. We've got some tomatoes here. I just had some extra tomato starts. I just popped them in these pots. Looks like they're yellow pear tomatoes. here, this was our broccoli. So we harvested the main head on the broccoli, and now we've been picking all these little side shoots that are coming up. So we're getting pretty good size broccoli harvest at least once or twice a week, which is really nice. And some cilantro going to seed, lettuce going to seed. I'm planning on saving a lot of seeds this year, so it looks a little messy, a lot of things just flopping around, but that's kind of what things do when they start going to seed. They get top heavy and just kind of fall over. It would be nice to be saving a lot of seeds. Yeah, and these are straw flowers, which are a really, really beautiful flower, and they've been blooming for, I mean, it seems like almost 2.5 months now. And they're just lasting forever. Really weird texture. Kind of sounds like they're made of plastic or something. But yeah, the pollinators just love them. There go our chickens. I hear butterflies and hummingbirds on these all the time. Oh, another pumpkin back here. Pumpkin with a boysenberry that is kind of struggling, but it looks like it's starting to put on some good new green growth. I love boysenberries, those are so good. And over here, got a hollyhock here coming in. Some more cilantro seeds. This is just loaded with seeds. I'm hoping to save seeds from this and then hopefully be able to sow them for a fall crop. More zinnias, Mexican sunflower, and hiding behind here we have a couple Swiss chard plants. I kind of like how this cilantro and sunflower is kind of providing shade for it, kind of keeping it from bolting. Calendula here in the corner. Zinnia. I just have zinnias planted everywhere in here, and they're just starting to pop open. This is some chard that's gone to seed. This thing is just a monster. Kind of just letting it do its thing. Another little guy here. And then here I actually have some spinach that I'm allowing to go to seed. Not sure how well that's going to work, but giving it a shot. These are some mustard greens, saving seeds from. Some arugula, which is just about ready to harvest the seeds. You can actually see here it's drying up, and this seed pod actually opened, and there's all the little seeds in there. So we're gonna have thousands of arugula seeds. Kind of let those scatter. And over here we got some bok choy that's going to seed, and then some golden beets in here. You can see them starting to form in there. It's a golden beet, so that's all in the middle there. And then one of my favorite parts of the garden here is our cattle panel trellis that we can walk under, and it just kind of adds a nice vertical element to the garden, and it's a nice welcoming entryway. We have morning glories, which are just going crazy right now. So many blooms on it this morning, and I think it's just gonna eventually take over this whole trellis. Hopefully it doesn't become too much of a problem, because I've heard morning glory can be quite invasive, or we'll see. I think it's worth it. Worth having an invasive, beautiful flower. With some nasturtiums here coming up. Tons of blooms coming on there. And nasturtiums. And then we have this other trellis here that I built out of just random wood that was around the property. Tree to Heaven, which is an invasive species here in Northern California, and then some pine logs. We had some sugar snap peas going up, and then some scarlet runner beans now that are climbing up. And over here we had potatoes planted in these two beds. Pulled the potatoes up, and then I sowed some buckwheat in here as kind of a cover crop, and just hopefully a good edible crop, maybe for the chickens, and then maybe if we can harvest grain from it for ourselves, that'd be pretty cool. And then This was also potatoes. Pulled the potatoes out, top dressed with some composted manure, and we have purple potted pole beans. And say that 10 times fast. With cucumbers. These are just the regular slicer cucumbers. So yeah, those will climb up this trellis here. We got some zinnias, some Love Lies Bleeding Amaranth. It's just a really beautiful flower. And then I have this board here over my carrots. I sowed some Nantes, Scarlet Nantes carrots under there, and that's supposed to help keep the soil moist and cool to help them germinate, because we're getting 106, 107 degree days right now, and carrots don't like to germinate in hot weather like that. And then over here we got collard greens that are going to seed, and looks like this is going to be more seeds than we'll need, so some of this will be just going to the chickens. Also, you know, the pollinators love it too. We got this really neat rare species of small zinnia that I got from Eugene, Oregon. I've never seen it before, but yeah, just really neat little flower. Got another monster sunflower here in the corner. And I'm 6'4". That kind of gives you an idea just how tall that thing is. And another trellis here in the back. Sugar snap peas that I cannot believe are still hanging on even in this heat. I don't know if they're going to be very good right now. Probably a little bitter with the heat, but I plan on saving seeds for most of these. It's starting to dry up. And then we got some more scarlet runner beans coming up in the back. Follow the sugar snap peas and some lacinato or dino kale. Italian kale. It's got plenty of different names. It's coming up here. Just a really dependable, hardy green that we'll be able to eat all winter long. Some calendula. I love hearing the chickens. Calendula, zinnias. I just love how this bed turned out. It's kind of a jungle, just kind of the style of gardening I like to follow. Polycultures and just kind of letting it be wild. And here we got a cosmos. We grew this cosmos last year, and I mean, it was probably about this tall, this wide. It was just huge. So I'm hoping this one does the same thing and just takes over this corner of this bed, because I just love it. The bees love it. Here we got a wall of scarlet runner beans and sunset runner beans. Same thing, just pink rather than the scarlet red color. And as you can see, they're well beyond the trellis, so they might actually start tying into this wall of grapes here, and just be this grape and bean tangle. So in this bed we had garlic, and we pulled up the garlic, and I sowed some more zucchini. I had another one over here, but it didn't come up. These are dragon tongue bush beans, which are coming up pretty well. Got some more sunflowers, some more zinnias and marigolds. And then over here, oh, looks like I missed a garlic there. Over here we got some Detroit dark red beets, and then under this I sowed some more Nantes carrots. So that'll be nice getting a second crop out of a bed. This bed here was onions, and then we did radishes in between, and some lettuce, sunflowers. Just kind of did this polyculture bed, and we have a lot of radishes going to seed, so we will be saving a lot of seeds for our radishes for next year. It'll be a kind of interesting. It'll be a cross between the Easter egg, or no, the French breakfast, and just the traditional red radish. I've got another hollyhock there. Same kind of thing in this bed. Radishes going to seeds, some various flowers, sunflowers, lettuces, cosmos. Oh, and then these are Tokyo Market turnips, which are delicious, and they are just getting huge. So I'm kind of going to let them go, because I imagine they're probably getting pretty woody at this point. Let them go and hopefully save seeds for next year. At the end of the beds here, we have comfrey, It's a really, really good medicinal plant. I like using it for, you can use it for fertilizer, you can use it for chicken feed, you can use it for wounds, you can use it as, you know, all sorts of different things. It's just amazing. You make salves out of it. Here we have Chinese multicolor spinach, just a really beautiful, vibrant, heat-tolerant spinach, which I've been using in salads a lot. And just kind of adds a nice pop of color to the garden. Oh yeah, I love this view of the garden here. See all the flowers coming up. And hear the buzzing of the bees. And that's everything over there. And then onto this half of the garden, which is mostly our summer crops. We've got our spearmint and peppermint here, which I already took one cutting of and got it drying. Looks like it's ready for another cutting. It's starting to flower. Just so fragrant. And I just love it. So it'll be really nice for teas in the winter. We got some more calendula here, marigolds, zinnias. And there's this bed here. So we made out of some old redwood. Some old redwood slabs. And here on this side we did Scarlet Nantes carrots as well as cosmic purple carrots. And these are just coming in really nice, just very, very abundant. A lot of carrots in here. So we'll be eating these all throughout the winter, and the Scarlet Nantes carrots will just get sweeter and sweeter as winter progresses. Some more sugar snap peas here that are dying back. And some bush beans in the back. I believe those are Kentucky Wonder bush beans, as well as some, I think, those yellow wax. And there's some parsnips that are next to the carrots all the way down. More straw flowers still blooming. And back here are some Lutz, German red Lutz beets, I believe. And these things are just going to be monster beets. You can already see one coming in there. That's already about the size of my fist. It's crazy. So that'll be nice. We'll be pickling those and canning them for the winter. And then we got some more dragon tongue bush beans here. Getting a little leggy, but that's all right. Here are our peppers. Got some little guys coming in. Not sure what kind of peppers these are. We got them from a seed swap. And I kind of just grabbed a bunch of random seeds. But they seem to be doing pretty well. A lot of flowers coming on. Got some more lettuce going to seed here. And some more sunflowers. A lot of different things planted in this bed. A lot of flowers mixed with the food. It's nice to have a polyculture. And over here, we have, really excited about this bed over here. We've got they're called yellow alpine, alpine pineapple strawberries. Pretty sure that's what they're called, something like that, somewhere along those lines. But they're a little yellow strawberry. I wonder if I can find some. I don't know if they're, that's a little guy. They're really small, but they are just so good. And yeah, these were all started from seed this year. And then on the inside, we have asparagus that was also started from seed this year. So we'll be harvesting that in about 3 years. So when you start from seed, it takes an extra year. Whereas if I were to buy already established root crowns, we would get asparagus in 2 years. We got some sunflowers here, some more zinnias, and then down the middle I planted beets, some more beets, and I'm kind of using the asparagus ferns, the asparagus ferns here to kind of shade the soil where the beets were sown, to hopefully aid in the germination and kind of keep the soil moist. And then over here was this is a Ruth Stout style bed, and I did potatoes here. So I just laid potatoes down on top of the soil and piled on about a foot of some straw, and they are about ready to harvest. So I will be doing that later today, and I'm hoping it turned out pretty well. Hoping the gophers didn't just get every single one. We'll see. Over here, got a monster squash coming in. I think it's a yellow crookneck squash. Oh, sorry, buddy. Disturbed a bumblebee. But yeah, there are just tons of flowers coming in there. Like we got some squash. They're just getting completely swamped with squash right now. And then over here, I built this trellis here, and in the middle I sowed lettuce back in early spring, and then I put in some tomatoes to kind of come up to the top and hopefully provide shade for the lettuce. Unfortunately, it didn't work like that because by the time the lettuce started bolting, or the tomatoes didn't get big enough to shade the lettuce by the time it got hot. But maybe I'll try it again next year. We've got a lot of different tomatoes coming in here. A lot of them are starting to ripen up quite well now that it's getting really hot. We're getting well into summer. And I've got different basils planted in between. We already took one cutting of that and made pesto. And then pretty soon here we'll be taking a second cutting, and then hopefully we'll be able to get a third cutting. So yeah, as you can see, it's kind of almost like a tomato tunnel. It's really cool. And then I'll be saving seeds from a lot of that lettuce, kind of thinning it out and feeding it to the chickens too. And I sowed more carrots and just kind of put these little pieces of cardboard on top. Over here, same kind of thing, but with pole beans. So we have a lot of different pole beans mixed with bush beans, and they're just starting to produce. As you can see, we've got more basil. This is an orange chard planted in between the basil with the green beans and the lettuce. So a lot of different things planted together in one space. And the beans are just starting to climb the trellis. We have marigolds here in the corner and some more zinnias. And then this is our squash section. We've got summer squash mixed with winter squash. This is primarily winter squash here, with this one summer squash that ended up in here. As you can see, it's a yellow crookneck squash. And then we've got our sugar pie pumpkin coming in there. So you can see him kind of hanging down there. I'm going to have to make some sort of a sling for it to kind of, for almost like a hammock for the squash to kind of support them. There's a really big one coming in over there. See that? Ow. Prickly. It's a really big squash coming in there. So there's a lot of different squash varieties in here. We've got the black futsu, acorn, delicata, butternut, red curry, which is this one over at the end, starting to produce here. There are just so many bees, so many flowers. You can see this bumblebee in there. Having a great time doing this thing. And then right here is our summer squash jungle. We've got zucchini, crookneck, and then two different varieties of patty pan squash. And I've been slacking. It's been 2 days since I did a summer squash harvest. So as you can see, it's definitely time to come through and probably take another giant handful of squash. And then we've got melons in here. We've got different types of watermelons that are just starting to put on fruit. A little tiny guy coming in there. And this here is I want to say a Sharon Taze melon. And a cantaloupe here. There's some more over there. And then this giant thing here is actually quinoa. It's a quinoa plant. It's a multicolor quinoa. So hopefully we'll get a nice harvest out of it. It's kind of been at this stage for a while now. It hasn't quite flowered. Looks like it's trying to. So that was kind of an experiment, see how it worked out. And this was the only one that actually took. And it's quite happy. Then over here we've got another tomato trellis. These things are very happy. They're just going crazy. We've got a lot of different varieties in here. We got the indigo apple. We've got Romas. These ones I'm really excited about. I believe these are the Brad's Atomic Grape. Really pretty tomato from Baker Creek. And then in the front here we've got our holy basil, which the bees just love, and I just love the smell of it. It kind of reminds me of like almost like a bubble gum. It's kind of like a medicinal bubble gum smell. So yeah, I kind of just planted that for aesthetic reasons and for the bees. And then we got some marigolds, cosmos. Our marigolds are just starting to open up. And more tomatoes in the back here. And then you can see we had a little bit of damage to the tomatoes yesterday. My initial thought was that maybe a deer got into the garden, but we found a tomato hornworm about the size of my finger. It was crazy. So we plucked that, tossed it over to the chickens, and we had a nice little meal. But you can see the damage they'll do in just a short amount of time. These were fine 2 days ago, but they'll pull through. So yeah, that's mostly our garden there. It's mostly everything in the garden except, we also have flowers planted along the outside, along the perimeter, yarrow, borage, Shasta daisies, and also some chamomile. More morning glories, a lot of different things. Yeah, this is our first garden here. Started it back in March. It was just like that, just a pasture, and just a lot of hard work, and got us to where we are now. We're hoping to double it at least next year. Yeah, thanks for joining us, and we will see you guys soon. All right, bye.